court right now. Since he was embroiled before, using even the president's name to con Mirali of 10 million shillings last year, why were we still none the wise about Echesa's whereabouts, even using now the deputy president's office as it is?
Well, those are your own words. I don't think there's anywhere where it has been confirmed that Echesa was part of the gang that conned Mirali 10 million shillings. They have said, even in this story, because I've taken time to read, that it is suspected that the same gang might have been the one. It's at least as out of now, it is not established whether. But that's neither here nor there. That's splitting hairs, Dibal.
But you must insist that Dibal withdraws.
No, just a moment. No. Just continue.
No, you must withdraw.
I cannot withdraw because I think that will actually.
Then give us evidence that Rashid was involved in conning the president.
It was reported. Just a moment. Continue.
It's in which paper, Dibal?
Just continue. It was in the dailies when I think last year. We can actually withdraw the. And we had the story as well.
Anyway, I don't want to focus on. I consider it to be a slip of the tongue, but because you don't want to withdraw, let me not lose trail of my thought. This is a pure con game in my understanding of how this thing has unraveled. Having followed the information from last week on Thursday up to today, and even what was, because I took time to read the charge sheet yesterday, that certain tenders were signed and so-and-so was promised this amount of money. But the thing that is curious to me is how two entities continue to behave in this country, Dibal. One is DCI and two is the media. And when I say the media, I am specific to Daily Nation and the Standard.
Yes.
How you guys continue to behave with these particular stories paints a very bad picture of you. It's very unprofessional, unethical, and lack of objectivity in how you approach this particular story. It's pure malice and unintended to play political games and feed into a particular narrative. I look back with a lot of nostalgia to the days when we had sober people in charge of our newsrooms. You'll never find stories like this. Because, Dibal, if conmen come to a public office where I'm the head and they are ushered in, they are say that we are here to see Senator. They are shown into a public waiting room, and confirmations are made where it is established that there is no intention. They are not booked on the diary to be seeing me on that particular day. And they ask to leave, and they leave. Then for the next 3 or 4 days, you're on a whirlwind, putting my image as the Standard and the Daily Nation have been doing the last 4 days. What kind of a country are we living in? What kind of nonsense is this that you guys are doing in the media? How difficult is it for you guys just to be objective and stick to the facts of the case? DCI, you know, Dibal, let me ask you a question. When these same conmen made their way into State House and conned people of 10 million shillings, how comes we didn't have the photo of the president in the newspaper for 4 days? How comes it's only that when it is William Ruto now, and we're talking about his office, not William Ruto, the man. That office has over 1,000 government employees. But his image has to be because of the politics that we want to engage, and DCI also wants to be part of. Because on the days when DCI want to be professional, they are. You remember 2 weeks ago, there was a report that former CS Kinjuri had been arrested. It was just a fake tweet that one of the, I think, prominent bloggers had done, and it began to gain traction. Within less than an hour, they had issued a clarification and said, oh, for avoidance of doubt, that issue is still under investigation. We have not arrested the CS. Since all this story began, there has not been any clarification on their part on who they are investigating, what they are up to. But because it suits the kind of narratives that you want to peddle around, that you want to show, oh, so-and-so is corrupt, his office is engaged. Surely, with all honesty, Dibal, why have you guys lost your ethics? How difficult is it for you guys in the media to just be professional and do your job? Report facts without this kind of insinuations that the Nation and Standard is so fond of. It's uncalled for. It is unprofessional. That is not what we should be doing as a country. They are criminals who have conned people, including those who have been conned. By law, offering a bribe is a crime. So the two white gentlemen that were with Echesa, if indeed they paid him 10 or 11 million shillings, they should have been on the dock yesterday. But because somebody wants to spin and gain a political traction, are you aware, Dibal, for example, that in the last 3 or 4 days that in the media has been focusing on this story of conning, somebody appeared before a parliamentary committee, none other than the Solicitor General, and confirmed that in the least medical equipment, that government went ahead and procured goods and services worth 63 billion without approval from the AG, but it can never find itself on the headline. As a country, we want to obsess ourselves with conmen. Both those who have been conned and the conners, the conmen, they are both criminals, because offering a bribe and taking it is all a criminal activity.
All right, let's say from Dr. Eseli, you agree with his view?
Not entirely, but partly. But I would say that as Kenyans, we are facing a very difficult time when high offices appear to be infiltrated by common criminals and conmen. It's not right. And I think, I would not say that the DP was involved, because there's no evidence to that. But definitely, somebody like Echesa is his friend. That one is a given. That has not been denied at all. But I think the DP is privy to intelligence reports, which he is able to consume. Therefore, he probably knows among the people that he hangs around with who is clean and who is not. So I think it's in his interest to keep off people with dubious backgrounds, because these people with dubious backgrounds are going to taint his reputation. So I think it's in his interest that he consumes these intelligence reports and keeps away from people with dubious histories. Because the way we are going right now, when somebody says inchi ni inchi ya, I mean serikali ni serikali ya majambazi, you know, it's not right. And this being said by somebody on the streets, that he ni serikali ya majambazi. You know, we can't have that. We have to have respect for high office, to the point that criminals and conmen are not allowed access at all to those high offices, even if it's just for some meeting in a boardroom. I mean, why would criminals meet in a boardroom of a high office like the DP's office? So I think it's important here, and this is about nationhood. What are we portraying as a nation? What are we portraying to the younger generation? What is it about leadership we want the younger generation to follow if we allow this kind of thing to happen? It's not just about the DP's office. Any high office, be it a minister's office, be it the president's office, we should not allow this to happen, be it a governor's office. So I think it's important that, one, the DP disowns these people and actually, how would I say, hangs them out to dry, or rather gets them to go and state what they know clearly. He should order them, because like if there were any people on the video that are maybe his aides or anything in the office who might have attended that meeting, he should order them to go and give evidence to the DCI as to what they were doing in that meeting. That will absolve him of any mark that anybody is trying to throw at him, because definitely these are difficult political times. And people will hold on to anything to discredit him. And he's an astute politician. He knows this. So he should actually act very fast to get rid of these people that might be tarnishing his reputation.
Otenamolo.
I've listened to the pained lamentations of my brother, Senator Cheruiyot. And I think it demonstrates the difficulty with which he and those who associate with the DP find themselves. And I said here 2 weeks back that when the papers, the media, appear consistent in certain stories and you lament against all of them, chances are it is not the media who are wrong, it is you. And I think that is a problem here. There are 3 questions that this whole issue begs. First, why is it that the DP and those around him tend to have more than their fair share of scandals? You know, on a balance. Secondly, why has the DP, his office, and those who defend him been ambivalent and evasive on this issue, instead of just facing at least the basic facts that we know, going around on virtually everything else? And thirdly, of course, the DP has intelligence, as Dr. Eseli Simiyu says, and therefore must have learned and known of this. Why is it that neither he nor anyone from his office lodged any complaint about the possible misuse of his office once, that was learned? Diba, on this issue, first of all, I think it's a good thing. I've said here before that the way to reduce corruption and this kind of conduct is to act on the intelligence that the president, the deputy president, other high-ranking officers know. Even without saying, and I've faulted the president for this, for saying that he will only deal with people once they are charged in court. I think the answer to Ruto-Echesa's frequent question why he was fired, people can now begin to know. Intelligence is almost always there on a number of things. Now, being taken to court is about criminal responsibility. But the integrity, you can be fired as a minister, as a PS, as any of these high offices that are not protected by the Constitution once there's information of impropriety. And that is the way to go. Secondly, I think that those who seek to defend the DP, including his own officers, have not done him any justice. They've been at best ambivalent. At worst, they have engaged in what I can call constructive admission of impropriety. Because they start by denying issues of, were these people there? Oh, now they were there, but the DP was not there. Was the DP not there? Now, the DP was not there, these people were there, but the named officials, I think they named 3 officials, were not there. They start by going everywhere, the DP himself tweeting about, oh, it's not just about the annex. Can you also look into DOD? It's as if saying, yes, my office may have been used, but DOD may also have been used. Then you find people like Senator Murkomen. Instead of focusing on this, say, why has Raila never recorded a statement about, I don't know what gold scandal? You find people like my friend, the majority leader, Senator Duale, saying, no. It's not just that office. There are many offices that are usually used for this kind of things. Those are not helpful things. Even the things Senator Cheruiyot is saying right now. If you want to help the DP, you should start by owning what is true. That, yes, the DP's office was accessed, explain how these people accessed such a high office. And then explain what additional measures the DP and his office have taken to ensure that that kind of abuse of his office, in fact, it's a desecration, is properly dealt with. Rather than blame the papers, blame everyone, it does not help. Lastly, I think that this kind of thing is something that must be dealt with in focus. Because Nairobi is starting to emerge as a prominent capital for conmen around this continent. Some years back I visited Lagos, Nigeria, and I was told a very interesting story, which sounded fantastic and impossible. The way some conmen went to Brazil, persuaded the Brazilian government that they were representing the central bank of Nigeria, and they even came visiting. They were received in a limousine, with motorcades, everything, with the trappings of government, taken to an hotel, taken to a place where they believed they were meeting the minister who was then, and they went and wired, I think the equivalent of 5 billion Kenya shillings to these people. And these people were so sophisticated, in fact, led by a medical doctor. Dr. Lwale might want to know this. It was a medical doctor who ran that whole operation. And they were so sophisticated that the money was wired, and then it just fizzled out. It took the intervention now of government in order to redeem its name, to persuade these people that, please, first of all, wire back a significant amount of this money. We are not going to prosecute you, but let's save face first. Because how does that kind of thing happen? But that's where we are coming to. The time anybody receives somebody at the airport, in military fatigue, people are saluting, it means there is deep connivance by the police, by maybe somebody even in the military. But there were people who knew about this scandal. This is not a low-level scandal. This is a very high-level scandal. If we want to save our face, this is not just about the DP. This is about us as a nation. We must cut this kind of nonsense.